Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are joined again by the Psych series founder and owner, woman who wears many hats, Cheri Sotelo here joining us, Sotelo, I should say. And she's here live to talk today more about the work she does to help you. Cheri, please introduce yourself to say hello to start.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cheri Sotelo. I'm the founder of the Psych series and the creator of the Faces of Illness, coming straight to you from beautiful Las Vegas.
Beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. She's here. How would I describe you? What would you say? You are coach.
I'm a I'm a holistic practitioner that provides services for the whole person. Every
Okay.
sphere that we live in, I made sure I dipped my fingers in it so I can bring it straight to the you.
Beautiful. Well, excited to have you here and knowing what your body needs. That's it. Thank you so much.
Yes,
You mentioned the biggest thing that we have going on as adults is the fact that we are always going.
yes.
Talk to us about that. The Energizer Bunny syndrome.
Oh, yes. I mean, more often than not, we find ourselves going, "Hey, where did my day go? How did I lose track of time?
Oh, yeah.
Did I get all those things on my task list done?" And we become overwhelmed with just the day-to-day of adulting. Again, if anyone ever told us as we were children that adulting
Yep.
would be like this, we would completely say, "No, thank you. I don't want to do that. Where's my fun? Where's my time?" We also forget how to take care of ourselves because we were being taken care of all of our life up until we became adults. And
True.
so that's really about taking the time to know what your body needs and actually listening to it.
Yeah, sometimes we don't, right? So
Hmm.
many of you actually know what our body needs in order to have the most optimal and productive day every single day.
I mean, how many of us just go through the rigors of our day and forget to eat,
Yeah,
forget to take that snack, forget to drink that water,
I did.
everything that,
And I did. So what did I do? I grabbed a polio before, a
yes,
polio string cheese
fuel the
and
body.
water. I said, "Oh my goodness." I said, "I've been nonstop working today. I did
Yes.
not even stop." What do you have?
So I have because I'm horrible about my water intake, but I will always have ice. So,
Good.
hey, however you have to get it in there, just get it in there. And then a nice glass of water as well. Sometimes I'll have tea in there. Depends on what our caffeine needs are or our detox needs, whatever the body needs.
Aw, good. Well, yeah. So tell us, let's work on this. We should be more aware of these
Mhm.
things.
Most people don't know truly what the body does need as adults. And then even as male or female, man or woman, what does our body need for its intake?
Mm,
Um, our nutritional guidelines. It's one of those almost mysteries to us. We depend on the doctors telling us, yes, we need this, or something on YouTube or somewhere else in social media saying, no, but you really should be doing that. But how many actually investigate truly what the body needs and understand what the body's mechanics are? Especially if you're a parent, what about what you're doing for your children?
true. Yeah. Sometimes we don't, yeah, we do too much, not enough, or do the wrong things.
But always with the right intention to do the
Yes.
right things. Just
But,
we can't know what we don't know.
hmm so how could we be more productive and do what we should be doing? How do we get that optimal level of production?
Oh, how many of us spend so much time scrolling through social media,
Ah,
spending time listening to something on a podcast or going on and having that TV on in the background? Selection. What you select is going to be what you learn. And so, sure, we all need that mindless time to decompress and we don't want to think too hard, but we can take that time to join that podcast that talks about optimal nutrition. We can turn on that documentary that talks about, hey, these are the items that your body needs just to operate at its best. We can find that fitness trainer that will give us those sideline talks or those one on one meetings every single week that says, hey, you know what? This is what your body needs. I've done the work, I've done the research. I'm here to help you. And so being proactive that way, even as parents, I do so much parenting training,
hmm
especially it's seems like baby season.
is
Where
this the busy season? What's
Yes,
happening?
it is. It's a lot of newborns. I even had a client that We were scheduled for session. She's like, sends me a message. I'm sorry, I'm having my baby right now. I'm like, why are you talking to me? Don't worry about me. Please have your baby. We'll talk about it later.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but I get the phone calls of what can I do for their nutrition? They're breaking out. The doctors don't know what I should be feeding. How can I do this? I can't take certain medications. I shouldn't take certain vitamins. And this is where being that proactive person allows you to go and do some bit of research. I work in my clinics and even today doing telehealth services, literally with food additives, understanding what the ingredients have in them that have some type of reaction. What causes headaches? What
Yeah.
causes gastrointestinal upset? What's a hormone disruptor? Again, these are the things that we don't necessarily know unless we go and search for the answers.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
know. And when I was working on an ND program after, turning down med school, one of the things that, and I do this with my clients, nutrition and diagnosis related care. This is a physician's desk reference of every interaction for both Western medicine medication, Eastern naturopathic type medication, what blood work to go look for, what things to ask for, what in our genetic line is there and available to teach us,
Wow.
hey, our body can operate this way
Yeah.
versus that way. But if that resource isn't there and someone isn't there to say, hey, your headaches and your fatigue and you're operating almost like that flat tire, but you didn't realize that oxygenation via food, have some leafy greens. Guess what? There's little, you pop it open, there's little oxygen bubbles in there. That's what it does for our entire planet. But we're not broken down that way by our doctors and our care providers to say, hey, you know,
Mm-mm.
if you feel like you're this little flat tire and you're all the way on the edge and you're feeling fatigued, but society says you need to go, 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 but you don't have the fuel to go, what car is going to move if there's no gas?
Yeah.
But we forget that. Again, as adults, we're on this constant go, go, go mode. I have to get this accomplished. But if you're not accomplished within your own mechanical system, you can't do much else. How do you
Mhm.
carry anybody else in that car? You
Yeah.
you just don't.
Wow. And sometimes, what about the need for naps
Oh,
and sleep, right?
oh, I love this broad spectrum idea, especially here in the United States. 8 hours a night, 10 hours a night for children, 12 hours a night for children. Can we bring it back to our primal basics? Would the human species have ever survived if we slept overnight for 8 hours? No, we wouldn't have.
Mhm.
We would have been hunted out, eaten, never made it. Our body isn't meant to necessarily rest during those prime hunting hours. So for those of us that struggle with sleep and then become down on ourselves for it, like I didn't get enough sleep, therefore I'm this and I'm that and the other. Again, these stigmatized statements that come across the board left and right. Well, why do other countries have a break in their work day to go home and nap? Why do work days exist at lower frequency in other countries? Because we understand that the body is going to rest when the body wants to rest.
Mhm.
And that's when cellular repair and getting all of our, again, regeneration, that rejuvenation, that's when it occurs, is when the body's at rest. Why do we fight it so much here? A 20-minute nap. Did it really cost us anything more than that 20 minutes versus 2 hours of sluggish work that was nearly not as productive?
Yeah.
So I know we fight it as kids. We never want to nap. We never want to nap. But as adults, we're like, please, can we find that nap time? But there's a
Mhm.
reason for it. Our brain is going to shut our body down to say, hey, it's time for repair.
Yeah.
And we need to be okay with that.
Wow. All right, good. Because sometimes you feel guilty,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
we're made to feel guilty that we're taking, the self-care becomes selfish, right? Yeah, that's the word I'm
Right.
looking for. Hmm.
And that is a concept that is often misunderstood just because of that simple word selfish. But if we can change the context in our own mindset and understand that we're working on self preservation,
Hmm.
that we do have to be selfish with that time in order to be selfless for others.
No.
If we can keep in mind self preservation over self deprivation. We will optimize our day to day, every single day, our body, our cognitive being, our relationships, because we all know when we're cranky, we're not necessarily the nicest people to others
No, we're just
in
irritable
any
all around.
environment.
You're right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, what about you mentioned times where you think something's wrong, you have an instinct, right? Something's wrong with your child. This has happened to me before. You think something's wrong, you bring it to the doctor, and your instinct is something's wrong, but the doctor tells you, "Ah, everything's fine. Just wait, just this, just that." And
Hmm.
I'm like,
My worried, guilty parent inside of me is going, no, take care of my baby because I don't know what to do.
"Mm-hmm,
And it's again one of those things. The body's a wonderful, amazing, just scientific anomaly. We have the ability to heal and repair ourselves, but at the very same time, we have that ability to damage unknowingly. And again,
yeah,
this is where I very easily take away the guilt from parents and the guilt for the self that
mm-hmm,
we can't know if we weren't informed. And we count on experts in the field to alleviate some of that anxiety. Well, if it's not part of their educational system and their workup and their extended continuing education, then how could they provide us this information? Well, they really can't. And so, more often than not, this leads to a whole sense of frustration. And
mm-hmm."
then you're almost diluted in
True.
what you come in there with all of your concerns that's saying,
Mm-hmm,
oh, okay, well, no, I guess maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe I'm just this. Maybe I'm just that. Again, as human beings, we have instinct, primal instinct at that for
mm-hmm,
survival. Our gut tells us something is wrong. More people deal with gut issues, not understanding that, yes, typically that gets turned around. And when that gurgling stomach and that heightened anxiety or that low mood and low energy, it gets really easily pawned off as, oh, that's just anxiety.
no,
That's just depression. That's this. Yes, those are side effects of sometimes a medical condition or even a
mm-hmm,
nutritional deficiency
yeah,
somewhere within our own doing or our genetic sequence that doesn't allow us to maybe optimize any kind of the nutrition that's coming in that we're attempting to do. But without the assistance of these experts in the field, we can't get the testing, we can't get the know how and the knowledge unless we start to ask, but we don't know what to ask for. And so you go to your pediatrician and say, hey, my baby's got colic, or my toddler has just these really awful sleepless nights, or my child is acting out behaviorally, or my teenager, man, what is this mood that is going on? We've all had that. All
total.
of those are developmental stages, but it also
Yeah,
requires different pieces of nutrition to help balance out some of these things. Again, we forget that food is such an activator on the gut. 90 to 95% of our serotonin, which most of us know that word, thank you commercials for depression, is
uh-huh.
is in our gut.
Yeah,
It's odd that the neurotransmitter is not in the brain, only a small portion of it. So when we introduce things that are disruptive to the gut, it's disruptive to our mood. It's disruptive to our behavior. It's disruptive to our amount of recovery or bounce back. Leads to that fatigue, leads to the aggravation, leads to any number of things, including that medical outburst somewhere, such as the eczema or the GERD that occurs or high blood pressure. And again, we see this whole domino snowball effect
no,
of where if we don't have all of the information in one spot, how do we assist ourselves to live our best lives?
no. You're right. And then you got the food part. And what about the food that you're eating with the medication? Isn't that another issue?
Oh, absolutely. As an event planner, I know, let's add one more hat.
Uh-huh.
I did a large event at the Top of the World Market Center here in Las Vegas, which is a fabulous facility. And for the cake that was coming in, I asked the bakery, may I have the ingredient list, please? With a lot of resistance, I ended up getting it. And I had to tell them that this is not a matter of me trying to poach any level of recipe whatsoever, but There are people that are going to be in attendance that are on chemotherapy. There are those that have chronic illness. There are others that have autoimmune or blood conditions that have different reactions to foods. And through the list that I was provided, I was able to disseminate that, oh, most of the products were soy-based products and certain chemical additives were contraindicated for certain chemotherapy medications. Again, this is where most people don't understand that we have to sometimes take that next step to want to answer the questions as to why aren't we feeling okay? Why aren't we feeling better? Why are we not participating in life better? Because we don't know. And that's where this book in particular has really come in handy. And even with
Yep.
what I've done with the Faces of Illness, um, being able to take these particular conditions and break down, hey, it is your condition is reactive to these types of ingredients, that your medication that you have been prescribed for your condition cannot interact with these types of things. One of, I guess, a pop psychology, we are doing this right now thing is about ashwagandha. What do you know about?
Hmm. What is it called? Ashwagandha? That, it's so funny you mentioned that because I got an email today. This is why we're connected, asking me, "Do you know what ashwagandha is?" It's in a product called Nutrafol, which is a pill I recently brought to help with hair growth. And it has four, and I didn't read the whole thing. I didn't click on it, but I started to say it's one of the major ingredients in their pill for hair products. What is it?
Well, ashwagandha is it is a natural supplement, but what most people don't understand that I've had to debate very clearly is that it's also something that causes spontaneous abortion.
Wow.
So who here would know that, oh my gosh, this amazing thing that helps you sleep and helps your stress management, helps your hormone balance, is also the very same interactive natural substance that the body will react to. So this is where general public gets a lot of information and we take it almost as law, as the absolute science, the we're going to trust that expertise. And that's again, it's one of those things that, wow, I didn't realize the one thing I was doing that was supposed to be great for my body actually is not going to help me if I'm a female of reproductive age and this is something I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So, and that's just one of many, many, many supplements. I have held certification in supplement nutrition coaching just because learning what each of these things do and how it interacts with the body makes a real big difference on our true outcomes and our true day-to-day
Hmm.
living.
Wow. It's funny you said that. I didn't open that email, but that's a hair product they're selling that's supposed to help grow hair. Then you don't know the side effects. Everything's got side
Hmm.
effects, but it's funny. Nobody lists those side effects. And if they do, it's very brief and small on the bottom, but people don't realize that. Eee, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Even with the use of essential oils, I have been a doTERRA user, and I guess I technically a distributor if I ever wanted to sell it. But part of my holistic clinics is that utilizing essential oils to provide other avenues of wellness, whether it's to
Hmm.
awaken the brain through certain types of citrus blends, because we all know that orange juice in the morning smells so good and our eyes get really bright and we're like, yeah, let's start our day. There's
Yeah.
that aroma component. Well, certain essential oils understandably have other types of effects. Remember, most of our medicine in today's Western medicine is derived from plants, roots, other natural sources. So everything does have an effect. Most women, again, pregnant women don't know lavender essential oil is not a good thing to use, even though you hear these wonderful things about, oh, but it helps you sleep. Yeah,
Hmm.
great, but not if you're pregnant. Why? Because essential oils, the way the molecules are broken down in many of them is that it can penetrate and go through blood brain barriers. So that's why it's so effective. That natural way of transmission from one side of a cell to another is an easy coat on the body. But if you don't know what you're doing, you may be inadvertently putting yourself backwards in your health and your wellness.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. We also got to point out we only have, oh my gosh, 6 minutes left here, but I know there's so much more to get through today. And one of the other things you said, what can we do to help ourselves become more educated, would you say, about our own body mechanics and, food and exercise? How does that affect our mental health and how we think? So you can elaborate on either, both will have time.
Yeah, it's one of those things that goes back to what I said earlier about
Hmm.
educating yourself and taking the time that we would normally spend elsewhere doing what we would maybe consider mindless and or just background noise and put something on. Don't be afraid to flip through and scroll through pages and pages of information if we're sitting on our phone anyways.
True.
Then absolutely just go look into it. If we are wondering what to do about, okay, I have this, say, autoimmune condition and I need to figure out what foods are going to work well for me. Well,
Hmm.
let me go research a little bit. Let me start with just an inquiry to a nutritionist or a dietitian or some another holistic health coach that's taken that educational leap to get all of the information and let's start planning it together. The same thing goes with our physiology. Part of my master's work in grad school was about the effects of exercise on depression. And it's about a third of depressed patients will absolutely have a beautiful recovery just by adding exercise. Why? Because we tend to take care of ourselves differently when we exercise. We
We
change the way we
do.
eat. We change our
Hmm.
personal hygiene routine. We change our
Yeah.
sleep routine because all of those lead to excessive weight gain, et cetera, et cetera. Well, did we not understand that the connection between it all is merely in the gut. And then the inflammatory response on the body, the achy joints, the sore muscles, the extra fatigue. No system of our body works alone.
Wow.
Again, we just like a vehicle, we are a vehicle for this flesh that we wear. Without
Hmm.
the proper components in there that's maintained, it's not going to run well. And that's really how, even with the face of illness coming around, was creating this one-stop shop that people can come to and ask me the questions of, hey, I have this symptom and this symptom and this symptom. And first thing I ask, okay, please, for 7 days, log your food. Let's see which ones are inflammatory. Also, give me a list of your medications. Let's see what's interacting. Oh, and by the way, here is the connect the dots of symptomology because I've studied so many different diagnoses over the course of the last 35 years of dealing with my own medical
Hmm.
conditions that are highly left unanswered because specialties do not work together. And once we compile this whole person, then and only then can we figure out what to do next. But
Okay.
it was based on no matter how they ended up with me via standard health coaching or mental health, that's how we can connect the dots and then take it from that point moving forward into this lifelong change of feeling the best that we can feel at any given point. And here it finally did arrive. They have come out. The books are
Hey,
here.
hey,
And this is that
congrats.
beautiful rendition of all of my very ill people. And look how gorgeous they are. Every single one of them has
Wow.
gone through this process that I just talked to you about finding out the food. Oh, there I am. The nutrition,
Beautiful.
the how am I aggravating my bones, my joints, my head space? How is this affecting my family? How can we come together and just fix this? Because I need one step. We can't get onto the next floor of our life if we don't take one step up that staircase.
Oh my gosh. Tell us more about the book, but put it back up there.
So, okay, the book is now available on paperback and hardback on Amazon. So, if you search The Faces of Illness or search simply my name, Cheri Sotelo, you'll find this beautiful, beautiful book that I'm hoping to turn into a landmark documentary about how our perception of illness can change because it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. Every bit of proceeds actually is going to fund volume two, which is going to be called Making Every Minute Count. So that's what it says in here. That's hard to see right now.
Congrats.
Um, thank you. And where I take this next set of individuals who once had this perception that life is over because they live under a veil of a diagnosis, and we turn it all around. Absolutely. And they just, again, don't look back, but it gives them so many answers and it gives people a place to go. And as I compile more on the website, which is thefaceofillness.com, those questions, those symptoms, those answers, those tests, those self-order tests, how much is it going to cost? How can I get through? What's the best way to do it?
Yeah.
Is all compiled there.
Um,
So
beautiful. Congrats.
thanks. And
Congrats.
the Psych series actually
Yes.
has a link directly to the other website. So depending on what somebody needs, I have my personal growth stuff, which is basic coaching. I have my nutrition side, which is a lot of what we spoke about. I have the face of illness side, which is the despair of having those comorbid conditions of mental health and medical and feeling a little bit lost. That'll link you right over, including over to the book. Then there's that executive coaching for our stress management, our business development for just feeling that stuck and how to get unstuck. Even guided meditations like, oh, because we all need that self care time,
Mm-hmm.
sound work, every type of healing that you can think of. I'm going to meet you where you're at. And so
Oh,
that's really what this has been about for me this last handful of years, but literally my career over the last 25 years.
beautiful. Well, thank you for being here, doing what you're
Thank you.
doing. How can we reach out to you?
Please find me at thepsychseries.com or on Instagram at the Psych Series, also thefaceofillness.com or on Instagram, the Face of Illness. Direct email is Cheri, Cheri, at thepsychseries.com. Or I have a very easy way for generals that can't remember everything because we're such busy adults. Cheri Sotelo at Gmail. I couldn't have made it easier for people to find me and reach out. So please do ask these questions, get to know, learn. I'm here to always help educate as best as I can.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Pleasure
Thank
speaking with you
you.
today. Always well versed, very prepared. We got a lot covered today, and also congrats again on the book. Looking forward
Thank
to
you.
seeing more. Hopefully, we'll go on the website to get it now. How much does it cost to purchase?
Um, well, all of the pages are available to view on Instagram at the Face of Illness. So if anybody wants to just look at it, the listed price is $39.99 for the paperback and $49.99 for the hardback. And again, all proceeds I
Yes.
go directly to my next set of individuals. I have people from Canada, one from Idaho who's just
Oh,
moving
so
to
they will be a
Utah.
whole new set. I didn't know
Oh, there's a
that.
whole new set. Yeah. And someone in San Francisco. So each individual diagnosis that I have worked with, I am finding a place for their beauty. I'm
Beautiful.
finding a place for their pain.
Go, guys. Support her, please. Sherry Sotelo. And again, her name's spelled Cherisotelo. Thank you again for a
You're
great show
welcome.
and great seeing you. And we'll talk again next week, I hope. Okay.
Okay, we'll see you then.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcasts on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.